Hello, and welcome to Holding Both Up Close and Personal. I'm glad you're here. Today, we're continuing the story of my mother's recovery journey in episode 4, One Step at a Time. Today marks something I wasn't sure we'd see for a long time. Not a complete process, not a finish line, just a step. And after everything we've been through, I've learned that sometimes a step is enough. If you've been following this season, you know we've been sharing my mother's journey after her second stroke in July 2025. You've heard about the fear, the uncertainty, the hospital stays, the setbacks, the moments when we weren't sure what tomorrow would bring. But today, today, I want to talk about progress. That's right, progress. Not the kind that happens overnight, the kind that happens one step at a time. But before we jump into today's conversation, it's time for our Mood for this episode segment. The mood for this episode comes from a message from Priscilla Shirer called There is a Throne. One statement from that message has stayed with me. Behold the one who sits on the throne. When I heard those words, they settled something in my spirit, because over the last year, there have been moments when it felt like everything around us was shifting. Hospital rooms, emergency room visits, unexpected setbacks, difficult decisions, long nights, and unanswered questions. But Revelation reminds us of something powerful. God is still on the throne. Not worried, not surprised, not overwhelmed, not wondering how this story will end. He is still seated on the throne. And if God is still on the throne, then the battle is already won. Yes! As caregivers and family members, it's easy to become consumed by what we see. The diagnosis, the setbacks, the uncertainty, the waiting. But this reminder calls us to lift our eyes higher, to remember that our story is being held by a God who has never lost control, a God who sees the beginning and the end, a God who is still reigning. So before we talk about therapy, before we talk about progress, before we talk about milestones, let's remember this. There is a throne and God is still sitting on it.
I do not know how people are making it that do not know there is a king and he's on the throne. In the Middle East, the ancient Near East, when there was a war or a battle raging, kings didn't sit. When there was a battle that was in full swing, kings stood. They paced, they watched, they wanted oversight. They did not rest. The only time a king sat down is once the battle had already been won, to demonstrate to everybody in the sphere of influence that the victory had already been secured. John says, look through the door. If you look through the door, you're going to see that there's not just a throne, but there is a king who sits down on the throne to let you know that the battle has already been won. Amen. I'm saying you and I are not fighting for victory. We're fighting from victory. There is a throne. Sis, you win. Brother, you win. The enemy can try to form a weapon against you, but the weapon has no hope of prospering. There is no scheme of the enemy that can prosper about your life. Why? Because the king is sitting down on the throne. And in the presence of the sitting king, every single creature that can't even fully be described, John said, I can't even give language to what I saw, but I know what I heard. They said, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come. And then anybody in the vicinity that had a crown on their head took it off as quick as they could. They laid it at the feet of the only one worthy and said, worthy are you, God, to receive glory and honor and power and authority. Why? Because you're sitting on the throne.
After my mother's second stroke, it felt like we had been dropped right back at the beginning. Hospital admissions, emergency room visits, doctor appointments, phone calls that made my stomach drop. Every time it felt like we were getting our footing, something shifted. Another setback, another hospital stay. Another reminder that recovery isn't a straight line. There were days I sat in parking lots before walking into the hospital because I needed a moment to gather myself. Days when I wondered how much more our family could carry. And if you've ever been a caregiver, you know exactly what I mean. You learn to celebrate stability because sometimes stability is the victory. You learn to appreciate ordinary days because ordinary days become rare. And for a while, ordinary felt very far away. But then, something started changing. Before I tell you about the progress, I need to acknowledge someone who played a significant role in making it possible. My sister cousin, Nadian. She started a GoFundMe on behalf of my mother when it became clear that she needed additional physical and occupational therapy. At a time when our family was already carrying so much, she stepped in and created a way for people to help. And people showed up. Friends, family, people who knew us personally, people who simply wanted to support someone fighting to recovery. Every donation, every share, every prayer became part of my mother's recovery story. Because of that generosity, she was able to receive physical therapy and occupational therapy that became a turning point in her recovery. I don't take that lightly. The progress you're seeing in this episode isn't just the result of hard work and therapy sessions. It's also the result of a community that chose to walk alongside us when we needed it most. And for that, our family is incredibly grateful. But I also want to be honest. The journey isn't over. Recovery is ongoing, and so is the need for support. We still need additional funding to continue physical and occupational therapy, both of which have played a critical role for my mother's progress. We would also like to add speech therapy so she can continue rebuilding skills affected by the strokes. If you feel led to support her continued recovery, we would be grateful. Most of all, thank you for every prayer, every message, every share, and every act of kindness you've shown our family. You have helped carry us through one of the hardest seasons in our lives. Physical therapy challenged her body. Occupational therapy challenged her independence. Neither was easy. There were painful days, frustrating days, days she was tired, days she didn't feel like doing another exercise, but she kept showing up again and again and again. Watching someone relearn things many of us do without thinking is one of the most humbling things I've ever witnessed. Standing, balancing, reaching, moving safely through a room, using muscles that had been weakened, learning confidence again. The smallest victories suddenly became the biggest accomplishments. And through it all, she kept going. Alright, before we continue, it's time for our soundtrack of my life segment. The song that best captures this chapter of this journey is I'm So Glad Trouble Don't Last Always. This song has ministered to me in a special way during this season because when you're in the middle of a difficult journey, it can feel like the struggle will never end. The hospital visits, the setbacks, the uncertainty, the waiting. Sometimes it feels endless. But this song reminds me that seasons change. Trouble has an expiration date. And even when progress feels slow, God is still working. Every therapy session, every small victory, every answered prayer, every milestone, they're reminders that God has been faithful through it all.
Come on, sing choir. Oh, yeah. Trouble don't last always. I'm so glad. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last. Come on, you want to sing this with us? I'm so glad. Yes, I am. Trouble don't last always. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Trouble don't last always. Come on, say, we've been made. We've been made. Good for night. You gotta keep the faith.
My mother went 2 full months without a hospital visit. 2 months. And if you've never walked through a medical crisis, that number might not mean much. But to us, oh my gosh, it means everything. It meant everything. It meant fewer emergency phone calls, fewer sleepless nights, fewer moments of wondering what would happen next. It meant her body was responding. It meant the therapy was working. It meant she was fighting. The videos you're seeing throughout this episode aren't staged. They're not polished, obviously. They're not produced. They're real. They're her doing the work. They're her practicing. They're her pushing through. They're her laughing when something doesn't go quite right. They're her being herself again in small but meaningful ways. Moments that remind us that recovery isn't always dramatic. Sometimes recovery looks like showing up on a Tuesday morning and doing the work, one step at a time. This podcast is called Holding Both for a reason. Because life is rarely one thing. You can be grateful and exhausted, hopeful and scared, encouraged and uncertain. You can celebrate progress while knowing there is still a long road ahead. That's what we're holding, both. Today, I celebrate my mother's progress. I celebrate every therapy session, every milestone, every exercise, every step forward. And at the same time, I recognize that recovery is still happening. We're still learning, we're still adjusting, we're still trusting God with what comes next. One day at a time, one prayer at a time, one step at a time. If you're listening today from a hospital room, a waiting room, a rehabilitation center, or your own home caring for someone you love, I want you to hear this. Progress counts, even when it's small, even when no one else sees it, Even when it feels slow, it counts, and so do you. Mom, if you're watching this, mommy, mommy, if you're watching this, I am so proud of you. Your determination inspires me every day. Keep going. And to everyone listening, thank you for being here. Thank you for walking this journey with us. Thank you for your prayers. Thank you for your support. Thank you for believing with us. This season has taught me many things, but one lesson continues to stand above the rest. There is a throne, and God is still sitting on it. Through every hospital stay, every therapy session, every setback, and every victory, He has remained faithful. And because He's still on the throne, we can keep moving forward. One prayer, one day, one step at a time. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, healing doesn't always happen all at once. Sometimes it happens one step at a time.